Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Justice. I'm a
Hola,
coordinator
César.
here with the Digital Learning and Instructional Technology Department. Good to see you folks. And this is going to be a good group, I can tell. We're going to have lots of participation, I'm sure. Excited to be here today talking about unlocking AI in your instruction. Take a look at the red text there. It says, before we begin, select a standard or topic to develop classroom resources using AI. Today's really a workshop. We're going to be making some stuff. And so, it might be good to have a couple tabs going, right? One tab would be the meat that we're currently in. Another tab, we'll open those up later, might be Gemini, which we'll be using. In fact, we'll also be getting into Canva AI a little bit here too, okay? So if you've got a lot of tabs open, what you could do is, watch this, pull one of the tabs, the Meet tab, away from the other, from the tab at the top, and then you've kind of isolated one of those tabs. That way you can get rid of the multi-tab universe that sometimes we exist within. I've already done that with it. I mean, I'll show you. I've got a million tabs behind it. Problem is now I've got stacked windows in front. All right, let's get started here, folks. So let's take a look at our learning attention here. We're going to leverage Canva, Gemini, Canvas, and NotebookLM to design interactive, standards-aligned instructional resources and AI-driven student supports. We know that we will have been successful if we create an instructional resource with Canva AI, if we use Gemini Canvas to generate and refine slide decks and interactive HTML apps, and use NotebookLM to explore district strategic plans and build student-facing study materials, including quizzes, audio overviews, and flashcards. So there's our agenda. Got a lot of stuff here to get through, a lot of opportunity built in today's session as well to play around and work at your own pace, and excited to do this with you guys. So again, take a look. Before we begin, select a standard or topic to develop classroom resources using AI. I've been an educator here in the school district for 16 and a half years. I've taught video production. I was a student council advisor at one point. I taught AP biology, chemistry, most recently AP Environmental Science. All of my classes, I'm a huge instructional technology fan, right? A proponent, I guess, because all of my stuff, all of my classes, all of it existed within Canvas, and this was before AI, right, really started to poke its head into what we do as educators here. But I'm a huge fan because it's such a great productivity tool. Like I said, everything existed in Canvas, and so when I left my school for the day, I didn't bring any. I stopped bringing a briefcase or a backpack. I only brought my water because everything was online, all my grading systems and all that stuff. And as AI starts to enter into our world here, I know what I would be doing. I would be filling up my Canvas class with content and assessments that align with those tier 1 instructional materials. And that's what we can be doing really the rest of that summer, right? Getting excited about what's about to happen here within our school district. Some of us might be working at schools that have gone through what is it called? I can't think of the word. We had it turned on for students, AI. So how many, use those emojis down below with the thumbs up. Are you working at a school, pilot is the word, a pilot program, a pilot school that had AI turned on for students? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Yeah, there's a good chance that you might be working at a school here that it will be turned on. And if not, like, I don't think it should be anything that we should be afraid of. I'll tell you this much. All of those students at your schools where the thumbs down currently in the meet, you're suggesting it's not turned on, they're still using it. Maybe not the elementary students, but our kids are getting on a ChatGPT. And if we are working at a school, lucky enough to be working at a school where it is turned on for Gemini, at least we can show them some ethical use of AI moving forward for this school year, right? Modeling that process even within our own schools. So pretty exciting, but I'm sure, give me a thumbs up if you used AI at some point to help you lesson plan or do something in the classroom. Give me a heart if you like really lean into it. Yeah. Couple hearts. All right. Couple of us is definitely taking a look. Are we using the Google Gemini platform out there? Give me a thumbs down if you're like using the ChatGPT or something like that. Yeah, okay. Some of us are using. I like ChatGPT. I'll be honest with you. I do keep it like I have a personal account with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT kind of starts to know me. In fact, it can reference like, oh, remember when you talked about this about 3 months ago? That's still a problem? No, it's definitely not my therapist for sure. But like that's actually kind of cool about ChatGPT. We don't have to keep giving a context. We've turned off that feature in Gemini. So I've got my school and work AI is Gemini, and then my personal one I use is ChatGPT. But so that like remembering the context aspect is a feature that the school district has turned off for all of us, which means that we kind of have to re-give that context to the Gemini AI every time we interact with it. Holly says we like Claude here too. We really should try to leverage the when we're in our um, school hats, when we're wearing our teacher hats and we're modeling the use of Gemini and AI in our classrooms. We really should lean into the district approved version of the system here because we've set up data sharing agreements with Google to be able to really handle that privacy aspect of AI, which is a good thing. For example, whenever we interact with the AI in Gemini, that data, that information that we enter into Gemini isn't used to train their model. And that's a good thing. If we mess up and we start to put in student names into the system, the idea is that those names won't go out into the other world that on the other side of the wall that exists around Gemini in Clark County School District. All right. So yeah, well, it sounds like we've got a couple of us are using AI in some form to help us lesson plan, and I wanted to go over how we can use Canva AI. So let's get into it, folks. In a new tab, let's go to. Might need to log in through Clever first, but just always type in canva.com/AI. I'll put that link into the chat. Let's go ahead and open up that link now, please. All right. Now take a look. You might be able to find Canva AI in your sidebar menu. Look at your sidebar menu. You've logged into Canva, I'm sure by now. At least you're doing it right now. If you don't see Canva AI as one of the options, in fact, take a look. I'm going to get rid of mine. So if you don't see Canva AI as one of the options, click on More. And then you should see the words Canva AI somewhere there. And watch what we're going to do. If you've done that, you click More, then choose Canva AI. What I'd like to do, I want to pin this into an area where I can find it again. So I'm going to choose that icon and kind of move it up, maybe underneath the word Home or somewhere around Projects. That pins that very quickly so that if I don't remember to go to canva.com/AI, at least I can very quickly navigate it there. There's some really cool stuff that you can do here in Canva AI. In fact, our department will be offering up some really cool lessons and PL opportunities on September 21st, our staff development day, about the use of Canva AI specifically. I'll give you a little preview though. So again, we're at canva.com/AI. Try one of these. I want you to click either Create Student Activities. You're going to choose your grade, choose the subject, the learning purpose, or I think this is also pretty cool too. Click out of that, and we'll get back to kind of the home page here. We can click on Design, and then how about Presentation? And again, you'll have like a chance to do an audience, be educational. You can choose a playful style and maybe like a really comprehensive presentation that we can produce. Whenever we interact with the AI, I always use the 3 C's of AI prompting. The 3 C's are context, clarity, and critique. When we interact with the AI, give the AI plenty of context. I'm a third grade teacher, name the school. Or you can say, I'm a third grade teacher in a large urban school district. I have very few things in my classroom, but students have access to a Chromebook. Be very clear. The second C is clarity. So be very clear as to what you're asking for, right? Be very specific. Name the title of the story. There's a good chance that the AI might even understand or be aware generally of some of those tier one instructional materials. We were playing around with it a little bit, like the HMH unit names. It might understand even the stories generally within those different tier one instructional materials. It might understand. We don't want to upload any of those tier one instructional materials because that would go against our terms of service. But there's a chance that the AI might be generally aware about some of the stuff. So if you're using Envision's math or you're using Sava's, try it out. See if your AI understands it. So that's what I mean by being very clear about what it is you're wanting, right? Um, and then that last C is the critique, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So for me, I'm going to choose design. I want to choose a presentation, and I'll choose one of these designs. Let's go ahead and use context and clarity. Describe what we want. If you chose student activity, be clear about what it is you want from them, and it'll see what it gets you. All right. So again, let's type in that topic that we're working with.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I sure am. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can't see it, it's, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Sure. Give me a thumbs up if you all can see my screen. Yeah, it looks like it's working. I'm giving plenty of context right now. I'm going to make a presentation in Canva. I'm doing noise pollution here for topic 7.8 for my AP Environmental Science class. And let's see what it does. If you chose create student activity, you might have gotten to the point where you can choose a couple different options. I like the presentation mode though, because, well, it kind of gives me some, if you're looking at my Meet screen right now, it'll show you a general outline of all of those. I can add to it and really make it my own if I'm noticing something that it's missing, like generate design. Give me one moment here. Give me a thumbs up if something's happening on your end. Is it, what do you got going down? Yeah. What'd we make? Turn on your mic. What'd you make? Or what did the AI make for you? Anybody want to share? Maybe you made one of those student activities instead of the presentation.
I made a presentation, or it's making it right now, with only a short one, with just 5 slides, with one of the stories in the Into Literature.
So can I ask you, did it understand the Into Literature? That's the HMH stuff?
Well, I did the clarity. So I put 7th grade, ELA, Into Literature, story, heartbeat, and
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know.
And it knew.
Yeah, it goes through the theme. So it just kind of gives a brief overview, which is nice. I know. with
That's
the
cool. So what, like, think about this for a second. There are our students oftentimes don't come to school, right? There's a lot of students that don't come, and so while we might not maybe use a presentation or that activity or something like that during our actual class time, maybe you're going to teach it the same way you did last year. If we make those materials available to some of those students in all of the different modalities we can create with AI, that's only a good thing, right? Because maybe we'll teach it one way, but if we make it available to our students that might not be present in class on the day that you went over, it's can only be beneficial, I feel like, right? I'm looking here. Yeah, I'm looking here at mine. So I talk about in my trainings the 90-10 rule. 90% of those productivity things that we ask the AI to do, like make us content, make us assessment ideas, brainstorm ideas, right? Coming up with discussion prompts. I love it for that sort of thing. 90% of that productivity work can be handled by the AI, but it's that last 10% that you put on it. That's that last C in our three C's: critique. We've got to go through it and vet this material. I'm looking here, I put in urban school district, and sure enough, it put that down in the front page, right? So I'm probably going to just get rid of that entirely here, right? So if we don't actually put that human spin on it, right? Remember, we're putting the human back into the AI process here with that last 10%. If I don't do that, I think it's just going to be good old fashioned AI slop, which I'm sure you've heard of that term before, right? So go through it. You're going to see me do some really terrible modeling right now because I'm on 44 minutes left in our session, and I'm just going to say this is perfect, But in reality, here, if I'm doing this for my job, I'm going to really make sure that the content is appropriate for my students. I'll vet it for accuracy, right? I'm still the content knowledge expert here. I'm going to go through and make sure that it's actually there. Every time I do that, I used to teach science. Every time I noticed it looks like AI will put in like a graph and it makes the graph. I don't know if I can trust that, to be honest with you, right? So I'm probably going to go online, maybe Google Images, try to supplement some of those graphics here for sure. I also can't stand. I'm a little bit of a photographer. I really am not the biggest fan when AI starts to make like photorealistic images like this is probably not a real picture that you're looking at here, right? I'll probably go in and get rid of all of these images. I'm not the biggest fan of like presenting photorealistic AI art and photos that aren't actually real as real. So I'd probably get rid of it and then again find something that is grounded in reality a little bit more, right? So it's that last 10% that brings the human back into it. And there you go. Take a look at this. I want to, okay, let's try this out. So what I love about Canva is that we can increase the collaboration aspect of it. You can do this on uh, Google too, Google Slides. But let me show you what I mean though. Like this is actually pretty cool. We can inject some AI into this process. So right now I'm on slide 7. I'm just going to make it so that anyone with the link can just comment. I'll copy this link. If you guys, folks, could please get into, boom, that link there. Go to 7. So imagine doing this for a second. Like you want to do a quick little formative assessment. Take a look at what I can do. This looks like there's some content on this page. Notice that as the students, you don't have the access to delete anything, which is great. I've done this before with adults, and adults start going in there and start messing around. If they have editing rights, they can start to delete stuff. Like don't do that, please. Anyway, so comment or view is a good thing. So watch what I'm going to do though. So let's go back to the meet screen. I'm going to choose this text box here, and click on that, those triple dots if you're looking. So you guys can't see it unless you're looking at the meet visual. I'll click on more, and then magic write is one of the options. I might need to scroll down to find it, but there's magic write. Watch this. I can turn this content, first of all, I can rewrite it if I wanted to, or transform it into something maybe that's a little bit more academic. But I like this one, generate quiz. And it will take that content and give me a quick formative assessment. And right now, so if you go back to that link, the one that I put into the Meet, what I'd like you to do is see if you can answer that question. Now, I could have written this question beforehand too. It looks like I have the option to actually edit it entirely if I wanted to. Because this, I feels like, is maybe a little DOK1 here, but. So very quickly, AI made me a quick formative assessment. Looks like all of you are selecting either the first, second, or third option. You'll click submit. Yeah, hey, a little record of participation, increasing the collaboration. If I turn on your ability to edit, I can have you folks work within groups potentially. Maybe you're making a third slide or something like that, right? If you go back to the Meet visual, I'll show you where you can get the answers for it. So I need to first click on, from the teacher view, I need to click on that little quiz that popped up. And if you notice, I've got this little menu bar at the top. One of them says responses. This is where your answers and your names will show up. Pretty cool. Looks like most of us are saying decibels. All right, nice. Very cool. So yeah, we used AI to make a presentation. We used AI to quickly turn that text into a formative assessment opportunity. I could have done that on the fly, or I could have done it beforehand too. And as long as I get that link out to those students, maybe I get that link out to my students from Canvas or from Google Classroom, students will be able to actually jump on there as well. Here's another thing too. Yeah, well, I think I'm getting a little too much with this. So there's so much you can do. Watch what I can do though too. So watch this. So go back to the Meet screen. This is something slides cannot do. This is pretty cool. Watch. I'm on slide 7, Holly, if you're looking. I put it onto slide 7. All right, you got it. Watch what I can do. So now I can right click on slide 7 and expand it to whiteboard. Watch this. All right, this is going to get crazy now. I'm going to change your ability to access this document, and now I'm going to change it so that you can edit. If you're still on that link, I want you on the left side, I want you to find that little yellow square. It's supposed to represent a sticky note. Click on that sticky note, choose a cute color, and then add it to this whiteboard. Of course, if you really want it to get crazy, you can click on elements all the way on the left and then start to add pictures. But again, we're increasing collaboration. You know, our superintendent, Ebert, recently released, her team recently released the Destination District Strategic Plan that asks students to develop durable skills. And one of those durable skills is collaboration. And this is a really cool way that you can get students to collaborate in a digital space here, is by giving them those rights. And all of a sudden, you guys can now start to select and create some of these cool little things. So yeah, pretty wild stuff. I'm going to click refresh here. There we go. I'm on 7. If you're missing click on tools. It's like, how do you get that back? If you click on tools on that sidebar menu on the left, that's how you can find those sticky notes. And I have just a couple of you folks write a sticky note. Magic. Okay, Shanita figured it out. Hazel did too. Move it around, find a space. Pretty cool. I can, if you folks started to type into it, I can also select all of your answers. And just like before I made a quiz, I can click on that little cute triple ellipsis there, and I can find my magic right and make a summary of your responses too. So take a look, right? If we had a lot more, it looks like Holly wrote just a couple things here, but if I had 40 students, the AI would summarize all of your responses. I select all of it. Pretty cool, I think. All right, yeah, thoughts about AI? what did I click again? I clicked on tools. I'm on slide 7 though, and I clicked on tools on the left. I can also, I guess I can draw on this too. Although again, you know what teenagers are going to do once you start to really to show them that. It's like, okay, I'm never doing this again. Hey, am I wrong? I already know what would happen. It happened with me with adults about a month ago. I was like, I'm never going to do this again. But I'm showing it to you because if I ever need to, I can just turn off your editing rights, go back to comment or view, and all of a sudden now you can't do anything anymore. All right. And then we'll say, we're going to go back to the chalkboard, students. Never again. Hey, let's move on. We spent too much time on this. Let's do the next thing here. So we just did Canva AI. Let's get into Gemini now. So what we'll do, let's open up a new tab. I'd like you to type in the Omni bar at the top, gemini.google.com, or you can follow my link in the chat. Bingo, click there. First time you use Gemini, you might need to authorize the app for sure. Go ahead and do that. And take a look, folks. Find that text field in the center, the one that says Ask Gemini. It should look like the one that you're seeing on my Meet visual. I want to click on that plus sign, please. So you guys do this on your end. Click on the plus sign. And I want you to choose Canvas as your tool. This is not Canvas LMS. This is the Gemini Canvas. If you don't see it, choose More Tools, and it should show up there. Select Canvas. If you don't do that part, this next part might not work exactly the way you want it to. Here's our prompt. Let's give context and clarity, then we'll critique it. We're going to ask the AI to say, okay, I'm an 11th grade teacher, science teacher. I'll skip the large urban school district parts. Create a slide deck on, and then type in the topic. For me, it's the AP Environmental Science, topic 7.8, noise pollution. But whatever it is you're working on, maybe it's that heartbeats story. All right. Click enter, cross your fingers, because we're doing this live. And then right now your AI hopefully is whizzing away if you're gotten to the point where I'm at. All right. Vet it, right? That's that critique part. I'm looking at mine, and I see that the contrast ratio and some of the fonts and the background color, I cannot read the text in gray. I think there's something that's supposed to be set. So I'm going to say, I'll go back, increase color contrast ratios on all slides. So students with disabilities can read and interact. Let's see what it does with that. Like, what? No. I think it's going to get it, though. Let's see what it does. So critique it one time. Say, hey, add another slide for some Kagan strategy discussion prompt questions, please. Or give me a writing prompt at the end for a quick write. We have there's a birthday card. Let me go see what the birthday card's doing. Give me a minute. Where's this birthday card? What do you got? Oh, they're popsicles. Oh my gosh. Okay. They're doing popsicles. Usually, sometimes it's cake. All right. All right, cool stuff. Hey, if you like what it says, go ahead and click export to site. Yeah. Hey, you guys got to give me one of these popsicles later, yeah? Don't you want one? Oh, I do a session. So I can't eat on camera. You better put 2 or 3 in that freezer. Oh my goodness, you guys, we're having a loose Thursday over here. Ay, ay, ay. There was like chocolate ice cream ones. There was the red, white, and blue type. Oof, they're all gonna be gone. Try not to think about those. Click on click on export to slides. Let's get back into it.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
I wanted to
I'm having
say
fun. Yes, please, Leslie.
that I like the creation on the Gemini better than maybe I didn't put it enough
Yeah,
into Canva, but I think it fits more. The Gemini seems to be more accurate or thorough.
yeah. It looks like for me, like I remember decibels was a big like paragraph in the Canva one, and here it's a bullet point, right? Yeah, it kind of depends, right? But yeah, for me, I agree with you that Gemini does a little bit better. I still see some of these issues, like for me the photorealistic AI art. I would get rid of all of that. Although if you notice at the very end, look at the last slide. It does this every time, it seems, is it does give you those links for where the images come from. And it looks like actually it might have been a real, for me, that one that I showed you on my screen was a real picture. Um, might be nice, go back and ask, say, hey, can you give me the sources for all of the information? Let's just try that out. Give me the sources on the last slide of all of the content. Content. There we go. We'll see if it redoes it. So once I click export to slides and I open it, that slide deck now exists in my drive. All right. So like think about it. If I already did that with my old previous one, right? The one that I made first or had AI make first. So if I click on export to slides, now I'll have 2 slide decks. It starts to become a little bit more difficult. So you might want to, before you open it up and export to slides, it will only exist in your Gemini until you click that button. So just, do the critique part first within Gemini before you export anything, I suppose. All right, it did understand when I asked it, by the way, to give me some better contrast ratios. It looks like it did it. Let's see what it did for the last, yeah, references and yeah, okay, it gave me some information there of where I can find additional information on one of the last slides. Looks like it took out the slide though about where the images came from. So, again, I probably want to go back and say, hey, help me out here. All right. Any questions about that? Kind of cool, right? What do you think? Are we into it? Not bad. Yeah, like I said, what I love about this is that it brings it up into Google Slides. We're all likely familiar with that program. We can then treat it as if it's a traditional slide deck, right? And what's really cool is that we're turning on Classroom for students next school year. And so Classroom is a Google product, Slides is a Google product. You're going to very easily get a slide deck like this into Google Classroom. I think a little easier than you might a Canva version of one. But all right, yeah, drawback is you don't have that cool magic write feature. You can't make those quick formative assessments like you can in Canva. So there's definitely applications for all. All righty, let's move on. So by move on, actually, let's stay within that current chat, the one that we made the slide deck. All right, let's show you another little app that you can do with Canvas. Now, I want to tell you, don't create a new chat. If you do that, you have to give all new context and clarity. As long as we stay within this one chat, this conversation, AI understands all of that original context and clarity. But like I said, we're not saving any of that information. So if you go away from this and create a new chat, you're going to start fresh from all over again, right? So make sure that you have Canvas selected from the same Gemini field where we created that slide deck. Here's our new prompt: create an interactive, I'm going to say simulation, but if you want like a game, flashcard game, something like that, interactive simulation for my students over this topic. Keep it vague and see what AI does, and maybe that becomes a jumping off point for further critique. Like, oh, I don't mind this. I didn't think of it, but change it the following way, right? So try this a couple times. Notice for me, it switched over from slide deck creation to like a little interactive app that it's making. This is awesome for science teachers. I think any opportunity that you're going to have an opportunity to make a simulation or do a simulation online, you can build very custom ones here that are very specific to exactly what you want it to be. It's really neat. Other applications, I think math teachers could probably use it. Elementary teachers, I think you can create some really cool stuff here for this too. I know with English teachers, I've seen some really neat, like, identify the false part of it, or changing sentences, or like even questions. You can create like a quiz generator, flashcards. For me, it knows that I'm an AP teacher, and what it usually will do is give me like another area here where I can have students respond to an FRQ, free response question. Want one of those popsicles still. All right. Yeah, look at that. Looks cool. If yours is still working on it, check this out. This is relatively new, your ability to share this out. In the past, these interactive apps only existed on our Gemini field, and it was really difficult to embed the code or do something with it. Google has changed that and updated, made it better. Go back to your Meet screen, take a look at my visual. In the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click on that little arrow, the one that says Share and Export. And then take a look. I can add this to a classroom. Oh my gosh, right? That's brand new. Or I can share via Drive. So this will get a link where I can add it to a Canvas class. So I'll click Share via Drive. It asks if I want to connect. Yes. I'll change the rights here to anyone with the link. And then all I need to do is get that link out to my students. Take a look. Click on that link, please, in the chat. Now, I believe that your students need to have access to Gemini in order to be able to click on that and use it. Give me a thumbs up if it worked. Yeah, wild stuff. For mine, click on that AP exam challenge. Yeah, that's a good idea. So if you have a little simulation, maybe you have and the AI didn't give this to you, maybe reprompt it and say, hey, give me an area, another section tab where students can interact with some multiple choice questions over the content or something, right? Pretty cool stuff. I feel like the real value in this would be to have students make their own version of it. So again, if you're working at a school where Gemini is turned on for students, how cool would that be to have 40 kids make 40 different versions of one of these? Do a little gallery walk, ask for feedback, right? That's how we can increase that ethical use of AI, just not taking it for face value, dissecting it, trying to figure out, giving feedback to the creator, right? Once you see a couple versions of the same thing, what parts do you like? What parts don't you like? Did it work? Right? What feedback could you do to improve the model here? That's increasing critical thinking, and it's using AI ethically, right? I think a lot of us are scared, rightly so, that kids are just going to use AI to cheat. I don't think that. I think if we change the way that we do our class, if we change the ask, there is less likely that the kids are going to lean into AI to do their work for them. Instead, use it the way that we are for their own productivity, right? Using it to get feedback on something they read and wrote. I was talking to was going through Jack in the Box. I was talking to the kid that was working there. He was going through NVLA, and he said I wasn't 100% ready for it. I was like, why? Why didn't you really enjoy the process? And he said because we could just use AI to do anything. And I was like, that was so weird for him to say. He didn't want assignments in which he could just use AI to cheat on. That was basically his argument. Like he wishes that there was a different way that we were using AI. Um, and so kind of interesting way to think about it. Even the kids, I think, don't want to cheat at it. But if we give them a really easy way to cheat, like using that old worksheet we've been using the past 10 years or so, take a picture of the prompt, upload it into ChatGPT, right? Because it's turned on. Gemini's turned off for the students at their school. So I'm going to use ChatGPT, and it's going to answer it for them. I was asking the kid, like, how do you prompt AI? He's like, oh, I could just tell him I'm an 11th grade student. I want you to give me a couple misspellings of some of the words. Don't give me like crazy sentence structure, please, right? And then what he did is he was telling me he takes those answers and then he puts them through 3 or 4 different AI systems so that he can make it less likely that it can be tracked as being made by AI. So the kids know how to do it. Maybe what we need to do is change the way that to change the ask. All right, fun stuff, right? Let's go ahead and do this. I want you folks to click share and export, click share via Drive, and then what if we put a couple of those links, change the share settings to practice, put it into the chat and see what happens. Holly says, this is a huge problem. High school students do this regularly. My friend calls it the great pretend. Yeah. Hey, change the work. I really do think that, like, the way that I use AI, I'm not using AI to literally do what I'm doing right now, right? I'm leaning into it to help me with some of the productivity. In fact, what I'm doing right now is AI is transcribing this meeting. At the end of it, what I do is I take those notes and the transcription and I put it into AI and I say, hey, can you make a 1-page takeaway for my participants? And it does that. But then what I do is I take over and I say, okay, I go through the whole thing and I kind of put my spin on it as well so that I'm using AI smarts, 90% of the work. That last 10% is my part, the thing that makes me special. And like I said, I'll send that out to you folks along with the recording from today's session, maybe with the part about the popsicles edited out afterwards, probably tomorrow, because it takes about 3 hours to get that email from Google. But all right. Let's do this, folks. Yeah, let's put practice one time, share that link in the chat. Maybe we can click on a couple of the examples real fast. And if you do that, I'll put those links into that 1-pager takeaway, like the one that Vanessa gave us. Thanks, Vanessa. Ooh, a little quiz question. All right. Ooh, I don't know the end. Okay. Oh, I got a hint. There we go. Ah, nice. Very cool. Looks like you found a way to use it for a social studies class, right? Yeah. Let's check out what Susan did for an elementary school. Ooh, this is cool. What is this? This looks like a slide deck, but what is it? Oh, okay. Is it going to give me something here? I want to see if I can click on these things. All right. Yeah, this looks like a cool slide deck, huh? Is it interactive in any way? Yeah, potentially. All right. Very cool. It's a game that they do without the computer. They just use the computer to get the instructions. All right, very cool. I love it. I'll put those 2 links into our 1-pager if you don't mind. Yeah, we'll go back, Susan, and reprompt and say, hey, I want a little interactivity here, right? Somebody yesterday, check this one out real fast. Let me see. This is my 1-pager takeaway from, yeah, so many of these from the other day. Check this one out. This is really cool. Yeah, look at this music education app. So I put this into our one pager from last Tuesday. And what this one is it's a music. Where did it go? It's for music. Check this out. But notice the fingering guide over here, then and the notes that light up exactly as the recorder here is being used. You can change the tempo. How cool is that? So it kind of looks like the system that Susan made, but it has a little bit more interactivity. So Susan, what I would do is go back in and say, hey, I need the actual game embedded into one of these slides here. But pretty cool stuff, right? All right, that one blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, that's insane. I asked, this was a music teacher, and I was asked her if those notes were actually the notes. Like, was that actually an A? Was that actually a B? And she said, yeah, they were. Wild. All right. Louis says, you mentioned that Gemini does not remember context. Is that only when starting a new chat? Yes. Yeah, when I go back to an old chat from 2 months ago, yes, it will be able to understand what you did. In fact, real quick here, we're going to get into NotebookLM, but let me show you. You go back to my Gemini. I'll open up this sidebar. If you have a chat that's really important to you, one that you're using for lesson planning or it's for Unit 2 or whatever, you can click on the vertical ellipsis next to that one specific chat and then pin it. You might need to even rename it something that you can easily remember, right? Like Unit 2, and then maybe you have one for Unit 3, right? But I'll say that you can also search for those chats. Like if you remember a keyword or something like that, you can also search for them. And then all of those recents are all, look at how many I've done every day. Every day. All right, let's do this, folks. In order for me to get you folks going on a NotebookLM, it's best if you exist within a group. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you guys all into a classroom group. And when I do that, I can very quickly get you a link. Okay, so give me a sec. I got to figure out which one I'm going to do for you. This one. So what I want you to do, folks, is let's get this link. I'm going to get you a link here in the chat. Click on that. Once you have joined this class from the student's perspective, give it like 5 seconds, give it a refresh, and then go to classwork. I want you to, let me get rid of this one. I want you to click on the NotebookLM on the destination district. I mentioned this earlier. The strategic plan mentions very specific things, some 3 priorities of what educators can do in our district to make our school district a destination district, one that like parents choose over charters even, right? And so what I did was I put that 36-page PDF in as a source. So go ahead and open up that NotebookLM, join the classroom. We'll take a look at that towards the end of class. Okay, Susan, thanks for doing that. Open up NotebookLM. Let's do a little tours here. So if you want to look at my Meet screen, on the left-hand side is where I can add different sources. In this case, I only added one source, and that's the strategic plan. Take a look, right? So I'll click Add Sources. I can upload PDFs. I can add websites. I can add something from my drive, maybe that slide deck that we made earlier. I can copy and paste in text or just look for stuff online. Let's put in strategic plan from CCSD. There we go. So what is a NotebookLM? A NotebookLM is a ground-sourced AI system. What that means in the center, take a look at the chat. At the very bottom center is an area where you can interact with the AI. And as I ask the AI questions, its answers can only be informed by the sources in that NotebookLM. So it's a ground-sourced AI platform. This is a good thing. Educators love NotebookLM because it's less likely that the AI will hallucinate or veer off as it's answering its question. In fact, it can't even move outside of the NotebookLM to try to answer your question. The answers have to come from those sources. So this is a really great way. If you have content, if you have content for your class, you can add that content there and then be assured that as the students ask and interact with that content, that the answers are only coming from it right there. And then take a look at the right-hand side. Now, if you're looking at your version, you're like on the student view or the user view of this, notice I've got some videos in there, some audio overviews, and slide decks. There's some flashcards and quizzes. If you go back to the Meet screen and you're looking at my version of it, this is the creator view. I can add those audio overviews here by clicking on each of these buttons. In fact, take a look at the Meet one, the Meet visual. If I click on audio overview, it'll just start immediately doing it. But if I click on the little arrow on audio overview, it pulls up another menu where I can really turn this into and like fine tune what exactly I want those AI hosts, makes like a podcast basically for them to work on. Pretty cool stuff. Same thing with all of these. I can click that little arrow and really fine tune exactly what I want each of those items in my studio area to be. Take a look at this. Let me show you guys another NotebookLM here, the one that has content in it. I added all of my 9 slide decks here for each of my 9 units for AP Environmental Science. There's like 70 slides each. If I just clicked audio overview over here, I mean, think about it. There's so much material in all of these different sources that the AI is going to make a 20-minute podcast. It has free reign as to what it's going to talk about. Who knows? Watch what I'm going to do, though. So I'll unselect all of these. If I have more than one source here, right? I can unselect everything, and then maybe I want to just focus on Unit 8. So I'll select just one item. And then again, when I maybe make that slide deck, I'll choose the little arrow next to it, and then I can really fine tune and describe exactly what it is I want. When I click generate, now it's only going to be about Unit 8 instead of whatever the heck the AI was going to make it on if I had everything selected. So let's do this, folks. Let's take about 2 minutes. What I want you to do is click on that. There's a black button at the top, the one that says plus create notebook. Find that up there, and I want you maybe create a new notebook, add that slide deck that we made earlier in today's session, or find something online that would be kind of interesting to do. Take a moment, 2 minutes, explore the creator side of NotebookLM, and we'll chat about it in a moment. I'm going to take a look at Susan's. Now we're talking, Susan. Look at this. Pretty cool, actually. Here's her. That looks like it's not working. Okay. Susan, it broke my machine. Might need some additional help here, right? Yeah, I don't know. Cool stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, any questions about NotebookLM that I can try to answer? Oh, let's do this. How about ask one question of that destination district? I should have had you do that first. One of the mentions here is durable skills. These are really what makes humans humans, our ability to collaborate and communicate with one another, right? These are really important skills here in the 21st century. And it's also a foundation for what we should be doing within our classrooms. It's one of the priorities. So if you wanted to, I want you to ask a question like what I just put in the chat. How can I teach durable skills in my math classroom, 50 words or less? I think the more that we lesson plan with those durable human-centered skills at the foundation of our lessons, the more we're going to relegate AI to that of a thought partner and assistant rather than one doing all of the work. But it's all in how the choices we make this school year, really. All right. All right, folks. Any questions?
So when you share that notebook LM, do they always have that? Because it seems like you're always adding on to it. So if I'm sharing that with my students, would they just always have that updated version?
Yeah. As long as they get the link out, maybe on Canvas or Classroom. If from the creator standpoint, if I create something new in the studio, anyone who is like the viewer of it will have access to it. Once it takes about 20 minutes to make one of those audio overviews. So, but yeah, once you add that, it'll show up in their studio as well.
You could probably
We're
give a
going to try to.
class on notebook LM in itself.
Yeah. I do this at the end of today's session just because I feel like what I would be doing, all of you guys should be doing the same thing, is like exploring this, seeing how I can use it in my classroom. So once we're finished with today's session in 4 minutes or so, go back to that Notebook LM, add some stuff, add in a slide deck that you used last year, play around with what it looks like. And then, like I said, just know that the best way to get that link out to those kids is going to be really through Classroom. Go back to your Meet screen, take a look. We're almost at the end of today's session. If I clicked share and you aren't in one of these groups, I would have to manually add each of you to this slide deck. I can't just copy the link and give it out to you. You won't have the rights to view it. So rather than having to add 180 kids onto individual Notebook LM students are enrolling and leaving your section all year round, the best way to manage a Notebook LM is through a Google Classroom. The reason why is because Classroom, those rosters are linked to Infinite Campus. And so as students enter or leave your classroom, they'll either have access or not to any of the Notebook LMs that they're in. Sonia, it looks like you might need a more in-depth session for Notebook LM. We're planning out PL. We're always like we're planning out October right now. And so what I'll do is maybe I'll think about what that might look like for an October session. All right. Regrettably, we can't just say, hey, let's do one next month, the way that it works over here. So yeah, I think we do need to do a more in-depth version of it. But like I said, I learned all of it just by using it. Highly suggest you spend 30 minutes today, play around with it. I mean, heck, I got 2 minutes left. Real fast, I'll show you this. This is one of those audio podcasts. If you're looking at my Meet screen, some of them are in interactive mode. So take a look. I'll click on interactive mode. I'll push play.
Welcome to today's deep dive.
I'll click join.
For the better part of a century.
Whoa, did someone just break the fourth wall? Let's hear it.
Hey, what are durable skills?
Oh, I love that you asked that. It is the perfect place to start.
It really is. Think of durable skills as the human superpowers that do not have an expiration.
Pretty wild, right? So I mean, there's so many cool things. So play around with it. I mean, the AI is doing all of the work, right? All I'm doing is just showing you guys. You take that baton and run with it, and see how you can use it in your own class. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take up more of your time here because we are approaching the end of our hour today. Let's do this. I've got a professional learning feedback survey that I'd love for all of you to fill out here. Let me put the link into the chat. Click on that. Today's session is called Unlocking AI in Your Instruction. Today is July 16th. My name is Chris Justice. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here for today in this 60 minutes. Look for teachers' toolkits I'm going to do a teacher toolkit on Classroom. I'll do one on Canvas, setting up your Canvas class, and I'll do one on Google Gemini. And maybe we'll do like a NotebookLM integration there for that one as well. All right. You guys can finish up this feedback survey offline, and I'll stop the recording.